Mothers know best, or so they say. But what happens when a mother only knows how to murder? An evil mind comes with that motherly smile. Today, as we explore the case of the Black Widow killer, can you still believe that mother knows best? In the small town of Wadesport, New York, in the year 1999, Ashley Wallace, an 11-year-old girl, lives with her family, her little sister Bree Wallace, her mother Stacy, and her father Mark Wallace. Ashley loves to spend her time with her father Mark. However, she is much closer to her mother, whom she considered her best friend, sharing anything and everything with each other. In the same year, November, her parents' marriage had already deteriorated, prompting her mother to consider divorce. Stacy approached her friend, Kim, and expressed her desire to leave her first husband. But after Kim gave her the name of the attorney, she hesitated and considered the near approach of the holidays. She thought that the timing wasn't right, so she made the decision to leave Michael after New Year's. At this time, Ashley noticed that her mother was gradually changing, becoming more and more irritable and aggressive. Her mother became more disciplinary than her father becoming more affectionate than her mother, and her mother becoming more authoritarian. It was December 1999. Michael Wallace falls unexpectedly ill and complains of dizziness, requiring him to spend most of his time in bed. He then goes to the doctor, complaining that he feels intoxicated all the time, yet not taking a sip of alcohol. His doctor diagnosed him with an ear infection, and he was treated and sent home. But little did he know that he was already being poisoned. On Christmas Eve, Michael attends a Christmas dinner to her mother's house. However, he looks much worse than before. Michael's sister notes that her brother looks bloated. His face and his hands were bloating. When her sister asked her what was going on with him, he simply answered that he wasn't feeling well, that he was having a cold. As days go by, his condition continues to worsen. New Year's go by. On the 11th of January 2000, Ashley's life took an unexpected turn for the worse. As she got home after school, she saw her father fast asleep on the couch like he always has been for the past few weeks. Ashley noted that after she called her mom telling her that she was home, he was lying on the couch. Then she turned the TV on. She remembered the last time her father moved. Michael made a funny noise, putting his arms up and back down again. Ashley left to pick her sister up, and when she got home, her mother had also gotten home too. She was taking Michael to the doctor's. Ashley was standing right behind her mother, and when she peeked in, she saw her father's feet, dark purple in color. When Michael was rushed to the hospital, it was already too late. Michael Wallace had died to what seems to be a heart attack. Ashley was filled with regret. She laments on the fact that she could have helped her father, only if she had only known what was happening to him. If she did, her father wouldn't have died that day. Stacy was asked if she wanted to do an autopsy on her husband, and she said no. She said that Michael didn't really want to be cut up for surgery. She also stated that Michael would have wanted them to be happy, rather than to mourn for him. It also confused Ashley onto why her mother never cried when her father, Stacy's husband, died. She always thought that Stacy was trying to be strong for them. The mystery of Michael's death was buried 6 feet under along with Michael's body. The now widowed Stacy Wallace, mother of 2 daughters, inherited Michael Wallace's $55,000 life insurance. With the money, she renovated their home and took her daughters to Disney World. She seemingly returned to being the fun mom Ashley once knew. She was returning to be her best friend. But Ashley felt like something was off. Their mother started talking to people on the internet. She was disconnecting again as their mother. A year later, in 2001, David Casters entered the scene. David was an owner of a thriving company, enjoyed a carefree lifestyle, and was also recently divorced. He saw so much in common with Stacy, and he also saw Stacy as a loving mother of 2. Ashley and Bree disliked David. Both felt like their father was being immediately replaced, and also because David said that he didn't want to be a father again, that he doesn't want to have more kids. However, on August 16, 2003, only 2 years later after meeting each other, they got married. Everyone was taken aback by this sudden marriage, since no one from their David's side of the family was informed, even David's own son, David Jr. Immediately after the marriage, the family moved in with David in Liverpool, having an upgrade from her single mother life. While the couple was living their best life, Ashley and Bree weren't supportive of David as their stepfather. The tension between them made their home insufferable. Their parents acted so miserable whenever Ashley and Bree weren't around. But as the months went by, Stacy's daughters began to bond with their stepfather. And as Ashley's graduation came near, she was unaware of how proud her stepfather was. At her graduation party, she saw her stepfather's wide smile showing Ashley that he was a proud father. But while Ashley's relationship with his father was improving, the couple's love was slowly deteriorating. Stacy and David constantly fought with each other. 2 years later, on August 22, 2005, the sheriff's office in New York received a disturbing 911 call. Stacy explains to the operator how she and her husband fought the night before that lasted for hours.
Police Communications, can I help you?
My name is Stacy Caster. My husband didn't show up to work this morning. I don't know what's going on. I'm just getting a little concerned because I haven't talked to him since 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday when he locked me out of the bedroom.
Has he ever mentioned hurting himself or harming himself? Or
Friday night when we were arguing, he told me to get out, take my kids and get out. I could leave. And then 5 minutes later, he said if I left, he would make me sorry. I would be sorry if I ever left him.
In her story, David got drunk, took a high bottle of liquor, and then locked himself in the bedroom, refusing anyone who wants to go in. Almost immediately, the operator dispatched a team to the Caster household. When they arrived on the site, they immediately buzzed David's room. Door open, finding a naked David lying face down on the bed. On his nightstand was a short glass with a half-green liquid, and on the floor, the police found an open bottle of antifreeze lying on its side. Emergency personnel did everything that they could, but unfortunately, David was pronounced dead. It seemed that David took his own life after locking himself in the room by drinking a deadly dose of antifreeze. The police doubted that this was the last time for the case for David. They believed that something more was going on. One police officer found a turkey baster with green fluid in the kitchen trash can. The police noted that if the turkey baster has antifreeze in it, then what was it doing in the trash can when David locked himself in the bedroom? David's body was brought in for an autopsy, then Stacy was taken to the sheriff's office for further questioning. She calls her daughter on the phone to bring the bad news. She told Ashley that David had passed away. Ashley was distraught. She questioned how she could lose another father figure. But little did she know how dangerous her best friend was. A woman who constantly kills her husbands is referred to as a Black Widow killer, named after the infamous Black Widow spider known for killing her mate during mating. But that doesn't end the criminal mastermind of Stacy Caster. As the investigation for David Caster's death continues, Stacy walks free. On David's will, it read that he leaves everything to his wife, his house, company, and all his vehicles. His son, David Jr., believed that his name wasn't even mentioned in the will. He thought that his father was pissed with him and wanted nothing to do with David Jr. After David's death, Ashley noted that her mother started taking them on trips again. Their mother was actually spending time and money with her daughters. On the year 2006, a year after David's death, the detective who was working on the case received the forensic analysis of the case. Results showed that the turkey baster contained antifreeze, and David's DNA on its tip and the glass with antifreeze had 3 fingerprints on it, all belonging to Stacy Caster's. The blood analysis also shows discrepancies with Stacy's statement during the 911 call. She said that David was drunk. However, there were no traces of alcohol in his blood. Because of this, the detectives and attorney were convinced Stacy Caster murdered her second husband. But to be precise with their speculation, they need more evidence. The detectives wanted to ask some questions to Stacy's first husband, but to their surprise, Michael Wallace was already 6 feet under. At that point, trouble was stirring for Stacy Caster. 2 years after David's death, Stacy was once again asked to the sheriff's office for a second interview. During the interview, she learned that the police had exhumed her first husband's body. She was told that they found an antifreeze on her first husband's body, the same antifreeze they found on her second husband. Then the detective asked Stacy a question that confirmed their suspicions. She slipped. She accidentally said that she poured the antifreeze. She stopped mid-sentence and clamored that the detectives were trying to frame her for both of her husband's death, then left. Stacy knew her time was running out. She was now aware that she will be charged for both murders. However, they didn't expect how far Stacy will go to hide the crime she so intricately planned. A week after Stacy's interview, the investigators, while wiretapping Stacy's phone, heard a disturbing phone call to 911. Almost immediately, medical team and police were dispatched.
I need an ambulance at Muscle Road. She's having trouble, I think. It sounds like there's something in her throat. Ashley. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is not happening.
While Ashley was clinging to her life, her mother explains that there was a bottle of pills and an empty bottle of vodka to her side. She also explains that Ashley left a note. In the note, she confessed to the murders of David Castor and Michael Wallace, giving precise details on how she committed those heinous crimes. However, something didn't seem right. The letter was typewritten. How could a child write that letter, and better yet, how could she have planned those murders at a young age? Ashley was rushed to the hospital. They weren't sure if she was going to live. If she dies, no one else is going to know what actually happened. She was 11 at the time, and it will be impossible for her to plan those crimes, so intricate. But since the police had a confession at hand, they waited for Ashley to wake up, because if she didn't, Stacy would roam free from charges. Ashley begins to explain what happened. It happened 2 days earlier. It was her first day of school when a detective pulled her out of the class, and then explained that they exhumed her father's body. What the detectives didn't know was Stacy had already manipulated Ashley to hate these detectives. When she got home, her mother suggested to drink their problems away. The next day, her mother suggested drinking again, but this time she wanted to get really drunk. Ashley cringed at the taste of the vodka, so she asked her mother to put more juice and/or Sprite. Her mother obliged, went to the kitchen, handed Ashley a straw and told her to drink it. Ashley followed her mother's command, and almost immediately, she passed out. The following day, Bree noticed her sister didn't look okay. She was worried. If it wasn't for Bree, Ashley would have died that night. And at the hospital, they realized that her own mother tried to kill and frame her. When the police heard Ashley's story, they made the call to arrest Stacy right there and then at the hospital. A year after, January 13, 2009, Stacy Castor showed up to court. Ashley prepared herself for this moment, to come face to face to the same woman whom she trusted her whole life. Stacy only needs one juror to find reasonable doubt that she killed her fathers. Ashley was called as a witness. She explained everything from the time her father died to her time at the hospital. They went into detail how she forged that letter, and that it was impossible for Ashley to make that, because at the time of the writing, she was at school. The trial lasted for 3 weeks, and all the evidence presented in the court was overwhelmingly against Stacy. When the trial was over, it took 4 days for the jury to reach a verdict. They found Stacy Castor guilty on 1, second-degree murder, and 2, attempted murder at the second degree. She was sentenced to 54 years in prison. Ashley and Bree felt like a weight came off their shoulders and moved on with their lives with the help of their close relatives. It was also suspected that Stacy Castor had killed her father, the same way he killed both of her husbands back in 2002, but they had no evidence for it. Stacy died in prison back in 2016. Ashley and Bree's sibling love what helped them defeat a serial killer.